Hello, everyone. You are listening to WKNC 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh. We are a student-run organization over here at NC State. I am Kevelle Wilson, and this is Off the Record. We're actually doing an interview with Phonte from Little Brother.
Phonte. That's all good.
Phonte from Little Brother.
Yeah.
I know while working on the listening that you had split your time working at Blue Cross.
yeah.
And so like I just wanted to ask if if you had any advice for your younger self splitting your time pursuing like a job and making music, or like paying bills with a job and making music.
Yeah.
For young people in your position.
I mean, looking back on it now, it's easier to say quit your job sooner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like when you in it, you can't see that far. All you can think about, you can't see 5 years from now. All you can see is 30 days from now when your rent is due again. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I would just say that to young people in that position of kind of trying to decide, all right, do I quit my job? Do I go pursue my passion or whatever? Man, there's no ideal time to take that leap. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, it's like going after your dream it's almost like having a kid. You know what I mean? It's going to interrupt something. It's going to disrupt something. So, you know what I mean? So, I would just say to, the younger, the cats that may be listening to this or whatever, the best time to do it, if you're going to do it, is in your 20s. You know what I'm saying? Your bones heal quicker. You don't need as much sleep. You know what I mean? Because, once you get, older later on in your life, those decisions, they bear far more weight in your 30s and 40s than they do in your 20s. You know what I mean? So if it's your time to just say the hell with it all and go for it, do it in your 20s, bro. While you ain't, you ain't got no kids, you don't owe nobody nothing, you ain't got no wife, no nothing, whatever. Like, go for it now. Like, because you can make that time up.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to do that the older you get.
Mm-hmm.
When was that moment that you knew, like, okay, this is it. Like, this can support me. This is my new career instead of just like a passion project?
Man, I think the moment I knew, and I always say the moment I knew it would support me, this was the moment I knew I wasn't working no more. But yeah, I was working at, so after that Blue Cross, I ended up leaving Blue Cross. I ended up quitting Blue Cross. I was like, nah, I ain't doing this. But I ended up, I had a job working in South Point Mall in Durham. I was working at Belk.
Yeah.
I was working in the Tommy Hill section. And straight up. And Tommy Hill actually pulled up one day. Tommy Hilfiger came to Belk one day.
Oh, really? That's
straight up, bro. No lie. He pulled up. I was like, damn, that's Tommy Hilfiger for real. Like the real, you know what I'm saying? That's him. And so, but he was cool. But anyway, so I had a job working there, and I got a call on my voicemail from home, because I would call and check my voicemail at home, for those old enough to remember what voicemail is. And I had a message on my phone from Pete Rock, who is just one of just the legendary, just most, my idols, producers, in hip hop. And he had left me a message on my phone talking about how, he loved The Listening, which was Little Brother's first album that just kind of came out at that time. And he was, yo, it's the Chocolate Boy Wonder, Pete Rock. Yo, I listened to you. Yo, the album is crazy. I need to get you up here on my album, whatever. And I quit my job, I think, a week or two after that. I was like, I ain't going back. You know what I mean? And I didn't have no plan. I didn't really have, again, things you do in your 20s that you probably won't do in your 30s or 40s. But I just quit, man. And I just knew then, because to me it wasn't about money as much as it was just about getting the respect and the validation from those that I grew up listening to. You know what I'm saying? I figured, look, if I got Pete Rock calling my crib saying he loves my record, I can figure everything else out.
Yeah, for real.
And that was it.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
You're a little bit older now.
I ain't more than a little bit older, cuz. Nah. Tell the whole truth, bro. It's 20 years later, cuz. Hey, look, man. Hey, we got a phone this thing, bro. Hey, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old y'all boys, by the way, man?
I'm 21.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
And we feel old sometimes.
Man, listen, man, I got sons y'all age, man. My boys are 22 and 17.
Oh,
so,
okay. Shout out to them.
Yeah, man. So I understand.
And you're gonna be performing at the Durham Block Party.
Yeah, made in Durham.
Yeah.
Little Brother Block Party, October 7th, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You go get your tickets, littlebrotherNC.com. You know what I'm saying? And nah, man, it's Little Brother, Big Crit, The Cool Kids, Zoe and Tall Black Guy, sounds by my people's Hourglass and DJ Wally Sparks, and hosted by Sam J, who actually has a comedy special coming up on HBO on like the 23rd. I think it's next week. That's coming out, and you know, these are all our people, man. These are people that we just have a lot of love and respect and admiration for in the game. And so we want to just, you know, celebrate our 20th year with, you know, with our people in our city, just doing it. You know what I mean?
I just want to ask about WJLR.
Oh my God, man. So WJLR, man, WJLR was just like a fictional radio station that we had. You know what I mean, that we made up. Yeah, it was fictional. Yeah, it was total. We totally made that up. Like, it was not a real station at all.
I wish it was.
Man, listen, we can make it one. Let's turn it in. Yo, welcome to 88.1 WJLR. It's Tigolo. I done took over. Nah, yeah, man, that was like the first. That was our joint. So the idea, it was kind of idea we had for the first record was gonna be WJLR, which was based around a TV station. I mean, I'm sorry, it was based around a radio station.
Yep.
Our second album, The Minstrel Show, was based around UBN, which was a fictional TV station. And then our third album was going to be like a movie, you know what I mean? And so took us a minute to get to the movie, but now we got the Little Brother documentary, Made a Little Watch, that's coming into this year. So,
awesome.
you know, that's the movie. You know what I mean? But yeah, WJLR was a fictional station. It was just, you know, me and all my Justice League brothers just clowning, you know, making skits, making up fake names, and just, you know, just being 21.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with the interludes and stuff. Like, I can have more of a picture.
Totally.
Yeah, I feel like the funny skits within like classic hip hop albums is something that's definitely disappeared over the years. Like, I can think of, like, you just look at like The College Dropout, like, easily, like, funny skits all the way through it. Late Registration as well. Like, there's so many other albums as well that have like kind of like comedy skits infused with hip hop.
Yeah. The skits for us, I mean, it was always, I mean, they were meant to be funny, but they were also meant to kind of move the story forward and also to tell you more about the artist. I mean, if you think of somebody like Wu-Tang, you know, and I know this is probably ancient history for y'all, but like Wu-Tang, they would have like all these kung fu skits in the middle of the albums, you know what I mean? And it was just, or like a modern day, like a West Side Gun or Griselda with all the wrestling in it. You know, those are things that just tell you more about the artist and what their interests are. So, you know, at least for when we would do them, it was never about just taking up time or just doing it just to do it. It had to be telling something about us or about the story that we otherwise wouldn't put in a song, or you know what I mean? So that was kind of the purpose of them for us.
Okay, cool. So kind of talking about like you kind of moving from a job into your passion project, then it becoming a job again with you said with the Minstrel Show.
Yeah.
You kind of felt that the album kind of like felt like work, and
that making the album didn't feel like work.
Was it more promoting it?
I think it was promoting it, and I think it was at that time being signed to a major label and thinking that the label had the answers when we realized that they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it wasn't that, you know, they weren't bad people or nothing like that. You know, it was just, you know, we were a group that had, you know, great music, but, you know, we just didn't, it was a marketing challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we were three guys, you know, coming out of the South at the time when what was status quo for the South was more your snap records, like Lean With It, Rock With It, and, you know, D4L, Laffy Taffy, which, you know, those kind of snap party ringtone records.
Yeah.
And that was what was running radio at the time. And so back then, you know, this is prior to the days of social media. So it wasn't like you could go and say, hey, I got, you know, 20,000 listeners on Spotify. I got, you know, 10,000 plays on my SoundCloud, or I got 30,000 Twitter followers. We had a digital fan base, but we had no real way to quantify it. And so that was just something that made our journey a lot more difficult based at the time we were coming out of. So I didn't really, you know, making the music, it is work. And, you know, it is work. Let me be clear. It's work. You know what I mean? It's work. But it wasn't so much making the music as much as it was trying to navigate the new digital terrain at that time, which we had no blueprint for. We had to kind of create our own blueprint, and even labels at that time, you know, this is post 2000. This is like post Napster. You know what I mean? So this is like post Napster. So like what, you know, Spotify and all that is doing now, like just quote unquote disrupting things. That's what Napster was, you know, 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, you know what I mean? And the labels didn't really understand how, they didn't know what it was, you know what I mean? And they didn't understand how to use it to the artist's advantage. So that's what made it difficult. I think it was the times that we were coming up in. Now, if we were a little brother coming up now, like new in 2023, yeah, I would tell, like, the hell with a label. Like, for what? Oh, God. Like, why?
Okay.
For what? You will have to do all the work.
I feel like a lot of new artists are starting to realize that, and they're blowing up without a label, and they're able to be huge and be independent.
Or like a smaller label with like that's got good like production equipment, stuff like that. Like that makes more sense to me than to go sign to a big label and a big contract.
And even with production equipment, like, listen, everybody got production equipment on them right now. Your phone is
that's
your production
very
equipment.
true too.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, you really, you know, now, like, you really have the tools available to, you can really own the means of your production. You know what I'm saying? And so it's really just something now where you can just, if you own the means of your production, you can make the joints, that you make whatever you want to make and get it out to the people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, people either sign with labels either because they need money to help make the thing, or they need money to help promote the thing. And for me, it just got to a point where it was just like, well, if I can make it on my own and I know how to sell it on my own, then what do I need y'all for?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, that was just my journey. I mean, it made that is not one size fits all. It don't apply to everybody. But it applied for me because I was like, I ain't getting these people no more my money. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it.
And part of the beauty of like what you're talking about with the first album is like making something true to yourself and telling a story true to yourself. And it's like, unless you know that the label can help facilitate that, it's hard to justify.
Yeah.
Very hard to justify. Facts.
Actually, did y'all not just get your masters back for
the listening. Yeah, we we have control of all our records, with the exception of the Minstrel Show, which was the record that came out on Atlantic. You know, Rhino, they still like have the rights to that. We working on it, but you know what I'm saying. But everything else, like all the other records, you know, they're owned and controlled by us. And you know, it was something that you know, it came on time. I think I look at artists like De La Soul who were able to get their masters back,
exactly.
you know what I'm saying, later in their careers, you know what I mean, at a time when, you know, it really mattered. And so, yeah, man, that ownership, it really does. When you're young, like, you don't have that in your mind. And so if it's any, like, up-and-coming artists, you know, I would listen to this right now, you know what I'm saying, I would just tell them, like, yo, dude, this is a long game, you know what I mean? It's you got to look at music. I think some people look at music like the lottery, you know what I mean? But you should look at it more like real estate. Like, it's a long-term investment. It's not something that, it ain't a slot machine, you know what I mean? Your chances of hitting the slot machine, like, is 1 in 200 million or whatever. Like, you know what I mean?
Hit song.
Trying to get the hit or to get on. Like, I mean, dude, that's a whole bunch of factors that you have no control over to make that happen. the best thing you can do is just make quality and just, keep investing in yourself, investing in becoming better. And in time, that value will appreciate over time. You know what I'm saying? You just got to stay in the game long enough for it to come back to you. You know what I mean? And that, at least that's been our story. You know what I'm saying? We're more, I think, appreciated now, 20 years later, you know what I mean, than we were back then. And it's just a long game. So, yeah, man, the money, hold on to your rights as much as possible. It may not, I know that little whatever money they throwing at you right now, it might look like, but that's peanuts. It's nothing like compared to what those songs are gonna do time over time. So yeah, I would say hold on to that publishing, man. Yeah, and it's hard. And I mean, I'm sure it may be somebody gonna hear this and be like, hell nah, I'm selling it, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, do whatever. I mean, listen, if you need that money, if you know what I mean, listen, bro, everybody rent due on the first. So listen, if that's what you gotta do, do it. But if you can hold out, if you can afford to hold out, if you are fortunate enough to have a family, a support system, or whatever, you know what I mean, to take that investment in yourself long term, I would definitely say do that.
So you kind of talked about West Side Gun, which I'm also a huge fan of.
Yeah.
You have any other new artists, hip hop artists you want to shout out?
Oh man, I knew hip hop art. Of course, Griselda, like them, love them. I shout out my man, local right here, my man Pat Jr. Big ups to him. Shout out, Tia Kareem, Winston. Man, I don't want to be forgetting nobody. Man, I'm trying to think. I shout my guy Sonny Miles. You know what I'm saying? He's not a rapper, but he's a singer. But he's he's out here. You know what I'm saying? He's out of Winston, but Carolina. I'm really rooting for. Shout my man Luke. Shout to him, Luke. Dreamville. My brother rapper Big Pooh. You know what I'm saying, is handling this project. Nah, man. I mean, I'm just looking at all Carolina artists now, and I'm just so happy to see them take advantage of the tools that we didn't have when we was coming up. There's just so much more infrastructure here now that we didn't have. You know what I mean? The thought of a Dreamville Fest being in 20 years ago, bro, that was not happening at all. You know what I'm saying? The thought of a block party in downtown Durham in 1997 when I got hit, bro, it's nothing. It's not happening. Only thing people did in Durham downtown was go get your books for school from the book exchange and go pay your light bill. That was it. At 5 o'clock, 5:30, downtown Durham was a ghost town. Really? You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. It was, you know what I mean? So there's a lot more opportunity now. So I'm really, rooting, and I just try to be just a supporter of, the NC artists, you know what I'm saying, that's really about their business, and hopefully, they can use the tools that we had and, go further than we took it.
I just want to ask about receiving reception on what's it called, like rap music, what are they, the blogs, like music blogs. I know you receive, the listening sort of became like an underground, just classic, through music blogs, and even I don't know, I read something about Questlove of the Roots.
Yeah.
Giving y'all props, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
crazy
man.
to
Yeah. I mean, back then, it was really, you had blogs, and that was where a lot of times people discovered new music. You had blogs, and we used to play around on a site called OK Player, which was basically it was the patient zero for what social media would become. You know what I mean? Yeah. It really was the precursor to Black Twitter, all that. That's what OK Player was back then. Message boards. You had OK Player. You had SOHH was another message board. You had The Lawn, which was our Justice League message boards. And, it was just us just online, just saying craziness, you know what I mean? And talking about music, you know, and just kind of going in. And so back then, we didn't understand kind of how far our music would go. And so when we would put stuff up and you would see cats like Questlove, you know what I'm saying, who I still to this day, he and I do a podcast together called Questlove Supreme, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, but to see someone of his stature, someone like that just, you know, raving about what you're doing, you know, it's kind of surreal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, oh my God. So that was just it was a time. It was a wild time because it was the first time I think in the history of music that you could get real time feedback on your song as an artist. You know what I mean? Back in the day, they would have what was known as focus groups, where they would just take 10 random like white people or something and like put them in a room and be like, here's the new song from who and like what y'all think or whatever. You know what I mean? But online, internet erased all of that. Like it became an instant focus group. Like to everybody, you put something out, oh, we gonna let you know what we think immediately, if it's good or bad. Like it ain't gonna be no secret when you leave this joint how we feel about you. Yeah. And that was wild. That was wild to live through that time and go that. So yeah, man, it was fun.
I'm kind of curious what like the general attitude was during things like message boards and the internet back then. Was it still seen as something kind of nerdy to be into?
It's absolutely nerdy. Listen, dude, it's absolutely nerdy. Like, listen, man, this is what you gotta understand. Like, I tell all the time, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hip hop was. There's always my man Dan Charnas. Shouts to him. He wrote a piece about this in the New York Times the other day, where hip hop the common phrase is that hip hop it started in the streets. It started in the streets and it came out the streets and it started. And yes, that is true. In the sense that it was performed in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It was performed and taken the streets and at parties and everything. But at its core, to me, hip hop is nerd culture. You know what I mean? Like hip hop really is nerd culture. Like if you really think about. If you look at DJs, like
like crate digging and stuff, like you gotta be so
like, dude, like you probably don't have a lot of women in your life. If you're not, you feel me? Like you probably are not that guy if you are having time to dig through records for hours on end, looking for the perfect beat. You know what I'm saying? Looking for that MCing. Like you're sitting down and just thinking of words to rhyme. Like that is nerd, if not a little borderline autistic, probably. You know what I mean? Like buddy of mine has a working theory that like all rappers are probably on the spectrum somewhere, and it kind of tracks. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, dude, like rap is this is nerd stuff. So yeah, like message boards. Even though it was a new medium and the internet was a new medium. It kind of, in my estimation, it really just kind of gave a voice to and kind of elevated or what the culture kind of was, anyway. You know what I mean? Like we just nerds messing around on computers. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, and if you a nerd, it don't mean you soft. It don't mean that you like I still bust your ass, but like we nerds. You know what I mean? Like sitting around thinking of words to rhyme, trying to make beats, like sitting alone in your room for hours, like producers. Like, dude, producers are nuts. Like they're all, every last one of them, they're all nuts. And I think they kind of have to be because that's just a different, that's their brains just work in a different way. So yeah, man, I never got, I never got offended or whatever when they called us nerds. Like I'm a proud nerd. Like this, you know what I mean? I stayed in my room all the time, listen to music, listen to records. Yeah, I'm a straight up rap nerd, bruh. That's what it is. But on the mic, I still bust that ass. I just need you to understand that. So that's what it is.
That's what counts. Yeah.
I just want to ask about the Justice League.
Okay.
And how did that evolve past the creation of the listening and past y'all like graduating college and stuff like?
Yeah. So the Justice League, man, shout out to my brother Cesar Comanche. You know what I'm saying? He's still still here, still in Raleigh. That's my brother, man. He and Ninth Wonder, they were the ones that really started the kind of formed, the early, iteration of the Justice League.
Yeah.
And, we were just all homies that went to school. At the time, Comanche, he, was here in Raleigh. And so he had all the homies from NC State. So we used to record our first records, the first records we made. We recorded in a dorm. It was in North Hall. You know what I mean? And and so back in the day, a little NC State history for everybody listening. So back in the day, like North Hall, I don't know if it's still the same now, but North Hall we used to call Good Times because it was like the black dorm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looked like the projects. You know what I mean? It like a high rise. It's like Good Times, straight up. And so you had North Hall, and then like right, across from North Hall, that was where you had the Planet Smoothie. And then you had right next to that, it was a record exchange, which was a record store. You know what I'm saying? And so the Planet Smoothie, I'm sure, I think all that is going now. I think it's like a Brugger's Bagels or like something, whatever. But
there's a record store up the street.
But
Nice
I think it's at Nice Price.
Yeah.
Nice Price. Yeah, we used to go there too. We shop for records there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So but at the time, the Justice League, they were all like homies at the time. They went to state. So up here, it was Comanche, Median, who actually Median was how I used to post on OK Player, because at the time I didn't have a computer at my crib. And so Median, he used to let us get his password to get into the computer lab at in what you call it, not in Tally, in
the library.
No. It was the one that was in over Avon Ferry. It used, again, I don't even know if this is still there anymore. It used to be like on Avon Ferry, like if you're coming down Western, you make that left on Avon Ferry. Yeah. That thing on the right, that building on the right.
Yeah, there's like Avon Ferry dorms.
Yeah, those dorms. It used to be like a computer lab over there. Again, I don't even know if it's still there. But we used to basically just like go in there and like steal internet. You know what I mean? Just like that was how I would get. That was how we would post on OK Player, like communicate with people and stuff.
Yeah.
Median, he used to let us. So shouts to Median for that ID. You know what I'm saying? So Median was here. My man Sonny Yorrell, he was also a student at State. Leroy McDowell, he was here. Who else was up here? Edgar Allan Flo, he was a student here. He worked here. Well, I don't know if he worked there, but he was here. And I think that was all the Raleigh dudes. And then on the Durham side, it was me, Pooh, Sean Don, Big Doe, who was our manager at the time. Crisis, he was staying in Durham at the time. He was kind of back and forth. And DJ Flash, who was our touring DJ, he was in Raleigh, at that time. But we were just all homies. Legacy, shouts to Leg. Leg was he was here, he was in Raleigh. But we were just all like local guys. And so we would just kind of just, we just mob up and just, we do shows and like freestyle and you know what I mean, like battle, like whatever. And shout out Sean Boog as well. Sean Boog was here in Raleigh. And so I kind of hustled Comanche at the time. He worked at the Planet Smoothie that was right across from North Hall. So he used to put all the homies on. If you needed a job, like he would put the homies on working at Planet Smoothie. So I think like at one point probably half the Justice League probably worked at damn Planet Smoothie. But like, Boog worked there, Knife worked there. Like everybody had a job down there at that Planet Smoothie. Crisis might work there for a little bit. But that was it. We used to come here. We used to come here to KNC. My man, God rest his soul, DJ Merlin. You know what I'm saying? I believe he had a show up here. And, we would do like parties in Tally, at the Tally Center. We'd be rapping and like nobody knew who we were. Nobody cared. People did not care at all. You know what I'm saying? But, we were still going for it. So, I have a lot of memories on this campus, man. A lot of memories.
So talking, since you're already taking us back, what did a typical day kind of look like for you on a college campus? Kind of walk me through like a normal day.
Well, certain words I can't say, so I can't take you through a whole day. My days back then, like it was
the PG version.
Yeah, PG version. Listen, man. I mean, back then, I was So I had my first son, my oldest son. This was when I was a junior in college. It was like he was born he got pregnant my junior then, so he was born like I was going to my senior year. When I had my son, that's when a lot of stuff changed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But I think just my typical day on a college campus as a college student, my first 2 years at Central, I graduated from Central in 2001, NCCU, Eagle Pride, all of that. I got there, and like my first 2 years, I played football, and I was just like, "Yeah, the hell with this. Like, I don't care about this. This is not. You know what I mean? This ain't me." So during that time, it was all football, everything. Wake up, lift weights, go to class, practice, team meeting, film, study hall. Wake up in the morning, do. Man, hell no. Come on, bro. Nah, they can have that.
Yeah.
And so, but then afterwards, when I quit, that was when I was like, well, I want to kind of get into doing more of the things that I want to do and kind of exploring what type of artist I want to be, what type of things, motivate me, you know what I mean? So, bro, we did after I left, I left football, man, I learned, I hope people listen now, which I think y'all probably figured out in college now, never take an 8 o'clock class.
Yeah, I figured that out the hard way.
Don't do it. It's not, because the thing is, it seemed like 8 o'clock, it sounds like, all right, 8 o'clock, because you're coming out of high school and you used to getting up at crack ass in the morning. Mm-hmm. That does not apply in college, dog. You know what I'm saying? It does not, getting out of bed in high school and getting out of bed in college.
2 different things.
Two completely different things, dog. Straight up. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
And it's just so I learned, I was like, all right, no 8 o'clock. So, my junior, senior year, my day might not get started about 11. About a strong 11, you know what I mean? We in there, you know what I mean? The 10, 11, I can do a 10, but, 10, 11, but I would just got to do that. I go to class, I come, go eat lunch, whatever. Normally I'd be done around 12. Sometimes I might have a 1, 2, maybe. But generally my day was done I'll be done at the absolute latest, 2 o'clock. You know what I mean? 2 maybe. Something like that. Yeah. And then after that, I would go to work. I worked at, had a lot of jobs. So I had a lot of jobs, dog. So I would go work at that time. I was working at South Square Mall. And I was working at S&K, which was a men's suit store. They don't exist no more. But I would sell men's suits, so I would have to wear suits. You know what I mean? I probably look like a damn preacher or something, walking around with suits all the time. But I was on my way to work. Yeah. So I go and sell my suits. Get off work, go back to the dorm. Me and the homies kick it. We might rhyme, whatever. Yeah. And that would just kind of be it. And I just stay up at night. That was when I would maybe write or just listen to music, just kind of to myself. You know what I mean? But that was just kind of a typical day. I always, once I left football, I always worked. I always had a job.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we might be a little biased, but we love college radio stations.
Yeah, man.
And radio stations, unfortunately, have been on the decline over the past few decades for obvious reasons. So to kind of reminisce a bit, what was kind of your favorite radio stations growing up?
Man, my favorite radio stations growing up. I think my favorite radio stations, growing up, when I was a kid, I grew up in this town called Red Springs. It's a town that's in Robinson County. It's about maybe 30 minutes away from Fayetteville. The next biggest city close to it is Lumberton, which is maybe 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But it's always, Robinson County is historically always been one of the poorest counties in the state. And so there was a small radio station there called WYRU that I would listen to. My grandparents, I live with my grandparents. Me and my mom, we live with my grandparents for some time. And so my grandfather would always play WRU and they would play gospel. You know what I'm saying? So that was where I would hear all the gospel quartet stuff like Mighty Clouds of Joy, Jackson Southerners. It was all that like gospel, what they would call quartet groups, just four dudes with jerry curls just singing in the most immaculate harmony ever. You know what I'm saying? And so I would always listen to WYRU. And then they would play like, you know, at night they would play like the early hip hop. They would play stuff like, you know, Jam on It by Nucleus, which was like you know, I know whoever listens to y'all, these records is gonna sound like I'm talking about damn Martin Luther King or somebody. But
the great record, y'all should check it out.
Yeah, man, listen, Jam on It by Nucleus, it's classic, you know. But yeah, man, so they would play like those kind of records. Let the Music Play by Shannon, which is another what became kind of what they would call freestyle or Latin freestyle, just that electro kind of disco stuff. I would hear those records. So WYRU was great. In Greensboro, 102 Jams was always dope. When I was coming up, Power 97, I would run that. Also, my favorite college radio station, it was 90.1 WNAA, which was A&T station.
Okay.
A&T, they used to have, I think they still have it, if I'm not mistaken. They had a show they would play called the Full Moon Block Party, hosted by Texas Pete. I'll never forget this. Texas Pete. You know what I mean? So Texas Pete, you know, it would come on, you know, like Friday nights, and he would play nothing but underground hip hop. Nice. And I mean, I was like 9. Listen to this, like, oh my God. I would make tapes, I would record. Like, dude, I lost my mind. You know what I mean? So Texas Pete, Full Moon Block Party 90.1, that was just, that's where my heart was in terms of the type of music I wanted to listen to. But yeah, those are some. And then I guess maybe around like 95, 96, I think that's when my mama got a car with like a tape deck in it. And I never listened to the radio again. Like straight up, I never played it.
That's fair.
Once I could get and then oh my God, once I got a car with a CD player, and I got the joint with the detachable face, what? Man, you couldn't tell me nothing. Are you crazy, bro? I got a detachable face on my joint, and I can play. Man, get the what? Come on, dog. Yeah. I'd never listen to the radio again. So that's pretty much how that went.
Yeah, I mean, like, my main incentive is to listen to friends and stuff on the radio, but with the phone, with streaming, it's like I can listen.
It's so easy.
Anything,
yeah, man.
You got it. Yeah.
So we can go and kind of wrap this up.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to touch on?
No, man. I think I think we got it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just it's crazy like coming back to this place. Like I haven't been over here in a long time. Like, in a long time. You know what I mean? So nah, man, it's just it's good to just still be, you know, accepted and received, you know, 20 years after we started. And, you know, I'm just thankful just to still, you know, be here making the music that I love and doing what it is I love to do.
Exactly.
Is there anything that y'all want to ask? 'Cause I mean, I know like y'all got the questions, talking points, but when I do interviews, particularly on college radio, I want to speak to things that are relevant to the college audience. So like, is it things that y'all questions about like jobs or like that question you asked earlier about, you know, the job versus quitting or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I want to speak to the things that are relevant to 21-year-old college students. Like what's relevant to y'all? Like what do y'all be thinking about right now? Y'all worry about jobs or like what y'all scared of flunking out of school? Like is it girls? Is
just
it guys?
balance.
What is it? Like, what's
balancing stuff and like I don't know, pursuing like career endeavors here and like just having the foresight to be like, this is what I want to do with my life, and in order to do this, I got to do this, this, and this, and make that happen. That's where I'm at, and I'm like just trying to work and do school.
Yeah, man. No, it's like you're on the right track, man. The key thing you said is that I got to make it happen.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That's really the longest short.
It's the time to do it. You know,
this is the time.
I'm not gonna have the free time like this.
Ever again.
Yeah.
Trust me. This is as free as it's gonna get now. You know what I mean? But nah, man, it definitely is you know, my biggest lesson I think is just definitely, you know, what you said, like you have to make it happen for yourself. That doesn't mean you have to make it happen by yourself, but you have to make it happen for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's always I come back to the analogy of like, you know, if you if you see somebody on the side of the road holding a sign that says my tire is flat, help me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you see a guy that's on the side of the road trying to push his car out of a ditch, you're more likely to stop and help that second guy because you see him actually working. It's like, all right, but somebody that's just, oh my God, help me, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Nah, dog. Because if you couldn't figure out that you can push this car yourself, then what you need me for? Like, you feel me? Like, so, that was just the biggest lesson I think I learned is just that, no one is coming to your rescue. Nobody coming to save you. But if you put the work in and you keep showing up, people will show up to help you in that journey and in that quest for the things you want. So college students, smoke weed and smoke weed and have all the sex you want, because right now it's not. No, please don't say that. I wouldn't say that. I don't be responsible. Have fun while you can. This is the time to do it. This is the time to experiment. This is the time to figure out who you are, and you know what I mean, and just have fun. And this is the time too, is what I will say. College is really where you meet your tribe. You feel me?
It really
This is the time where you find your people. High school.
Yeah, you just hang around people who are around.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. High school, like, you're never going to meet none of these people again. Like, you might be at a damn 7-Eleven and see the dude that you went to science class with in the aisle. And it's like, oh, what up, dude? All right. And then you're never going to talk to them again. Yeah. But college is really where you meet your people. You know what I mean? So I would say use this time just to get into your dreams and find your people and, keep it pushing, man. Have fun.
That is great.
So let's conclude our interview. Just to remind y'all again, Little Brother will be performing at the Durham Block Party on October the 7th, and y'all should definitely go check them out.
Made in Durham.
Yeah.
LittleBrotherNC.com.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank y'all for tuning in to this interview. You can check out other interviews at WKNC.org/podcast and click on Off the Record. I'm Kevelle on WKNC 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh. Thank you for listening and take care.